Well, hello and welcome to the Departure Lounge. It feels very familiar.
Yes.
Where we talk nonsense about travel and get you holiday ready. I'm Aaron, and this is our first special episode.
Very special episode.
How exciting.
I'm very excited.
Yes, I have Allie with me today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, excited to be here. I have to say that we usually talk nonsense, but this time I feel like we're going to, go a bit more serious.
Very serious.
Very serious.
Yeah. Yes, and also joining me today, we've got our sustainability experts from Travel Forward, Katie and Rebecca. How are you both?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah, good.
Delighted to be here.
Thank you. You good?
Yeah, really good. Yeah, it's great to be here today.
Awesome. So over the past year or so, Holiday Extras customers have raised around 40k for Travel Forward. Can you tell us a bit more about sort of what Travel Forward is and your mission and stuff like that?
So Travel Forward is a UK charity. We were set up in 2003 by the UK outbound tour operators at that time, who recognised that they were taking customers to lots of places around the world where those customers had impacts, and those impacts can be negative or positive. And so they wanted to create a way of tackling those impacts, of increasing the positive benefits of tourism. And so we were set up as that charity in 2003, as the Travel Foundation at the time. We've recently rebranded to Travel Forward, as you mentioned, with support from the industry, including Holiday Extras, that we're really grateful for. Really to not just change the name. It wasn't just about the name, but it was about reflecting our mission of moving to a better model for tourism that serves those people and places that we visit. So our strapline is the well-being of destinations, which I really like because it's all about the places we go to. It's all about those places thriving for the future and how we can play our part in that.
Awesome. It's such a nice take as well, because I feel like there's a lot of negative sentiment about tourism these days that you get in the news, and over tourism in some of the biggest destinations. So it's nice to talk about the positive impacts that travel can have on destinations instead. Let's just jump straight into Travel State of Mind, which is where we talk about the latest travel news, the biggest issues in the world. And yeah, there's a lot going on. So obviously we've just come out of one of the worst heat waves, I think, ever experienced.
Fan sales are through the roof.
Yeah. Which came a few weeks after another heat wave that was probably the worst one we've ever had to live through. And then we're getting another one.
That's it. Just wait for the weekend.
Yeah. Love it. What would you say are the biggest issues sort of facing the travel industry today? And is there any advice you can give to travellers who maybe want to have less of an impact on their destination or more of a positive impact instead?
Sure. So just thinking about the big issues, for me, I think the ones that we really support the industry to tackle at Travel Forward are two main issues. The first one is climate change and the impacts of climate change. So as you've mentioned, we're experiencing that here in a way that perhaps we haven't for quite some time. And but places that we visit, this can be a regular experience. And so we are seeing the impacts of climate change around the world. We're seeing it on the destinations that we love to visit, particularly island destinations, for example, that are very dependent on tourism and need visitors, but are also impacted by the emissions from our trips. So it's that balance of how do we tackle climate change while still supporting those destinations. And the other question that we really try and address is the pressures on destinations. We're seeing things like over-tourism. We're seeing resident protests in some places around the world, and sometimes that can be because those benefits of tourism that we really believe can be generated are not shared as fairly as they might be, or as we might expect them to be. But we know they can be shared more fairly among destination communities. So again, we work with the industry and places to try and support that to happen.
So yeah, I guess in terms of tips for travellers when they're on holiday, to build on from what Bex has said, I think one of my top tips would be to really continue to act as you do at home. I think there's a tendency when people go on holiday to sort of leave those good behaviours, they kind of just go out the window.
Go crazy.
Particularly in terms of, resources use and things like that. So keeping lights on, using loads of water. So I think just kind of continuing to be mindful and when you leave buildings, leave hotel rooms, turn the aircon off, turn lights off, all those basic things. Even towels. Everyone's seen signs about towel use in hotels, but I think sometimes, at home you don't use 10 towels a day and leave them all over the floor. So it's just kind of being mindful. Lots of the destinations that, we love to visit here in the height of summer are really being affected by water shortages and things like that. So and water needs to be shared among tourists, but also the local communities that live there. So it's just, really being mindful about those resources that you're using on holiday, which doesn't mean a big shift. It generally just means doing what you normally do at home. So it's not a big change. And then in addition to that, I would say kind of really taking time to find local places. So, when we go away nowadays, it's easy to see the same kind of global brands are everywhere. Yeah. You can't get away from them. But, to go and have lunch in somewhere like that is not going to be a different experience to what you have at home. So I think really finding the time to find local family-run places not only spreads more benefits from tourism and wealth in the local communities, but also really enhances your experience. And they're often the most memorable bits you have on holiday is finding that tiny restaurant with the most amazing pasta you've ever tasted and talking to the old grandma. So, I think really taking time to do that would be a big recommendation. And that's in terms of local trips and experiences as well, and food, local markets for souvenirs.
Souvenirs. There we go.
Yeah.
We were just discussing my love of a gift shop. So,
I love a local market.
That's it. That's it. Come home with all the souvenirs.
Yeah, too many, And then public transport. So that's another thing. I know sometimes people need to hire cars, but if you don't, just really trying to look at where you can walk or cycle again. That can be a really great experience. And especially in cities, it's more stressful to be driving around.
Absolutely.
So anything you can do to kind of use public transport, particularly in Europe, we're really lucky. It's often cheaper. It's more efficient, and it's emitting less emissions. And I guess lastly, if you can, I know it's not possible for everyone, but looking to maybe go off season, and that can be really beneficial. Again, it can kind of give you a better experience because you're avoiding the crowds. It can be cheaper. It can be, much more kind of relaxed holiday. But also it means that the kind of spread of tourism is spread more evenly throughout the year for local communities rather than being kind of, saturated in, really short periods. And that goes again for looking at different sites beyond, not the main cathedral or waterfall that everyone goes to, but again, maybe talking to locals, maybe talking to people in your accommodation and finding out where locals like to see and visit. And so again, it's kind of just dispersing crowds from the main sites, giving other small businesses and attractions, a share of the benefits as well. And also I know that Holiday Extras have a good trip index that you've developed.
Yes.
So I would definitely recommend people check that out to really understand the impacts in different destinations and tips and advice about what travellers can do before going there. So
awesome.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Look, she's plugging it.
I know, we don't even have to.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's the
Excellent.
trip index. I think one of the things we have in there is a sustainability index. So you can have a look and see what countries are topping on sustainability and animal welfare, those sorts of things. I think there's some really great tips there. I think it's interesting you saying about acting like you do at home. Do you feel like where the UK is experiencing kind of more of this, the heat waves and that, actually where climate change is coming closer to home, do you think people will be more mindful actually? We see how it affects us here now.
Yeah.
We'd be more mindful when people travel abroad, perhaps, of it.
Yeah, I mean, I really hope so. And that hopefully might be a positive take on what's happening.
There's got to be some positive, isn't there?
But also, I mean, now in the Southeast, there's a hosepipe ban. So as you said, these restrictions are coming closer to home. So people are going to be more aware and in tune. I think another big thing is not necessarily thinking about like drastic changes, but I think a lot of what we do working with businesses is kind of adapting to climate. So that might be as simple as creating more shaded areas. It doesn't have to be aircon units, but how can you create more shaded areas in your garden, in your, holiday villa or, so kind of simple things.
I think the point you made about sort of seeing local businesses and stuff is 100% agree with that. Like we were in Greece week before last, and we did do the all-inclusive thing. But so my partner is Greek, who I went with, and he always makes a point of talking to the hotel staff and being like, where can we get decent coffee?
Yeah.
And where's the best bakery? Because he always has to get the, what do they call it? The Freddo espresso
Oh, I don't.
coffee.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Like
in
the
Greece,
ice,
yes,
like really
yeah.
sweet. Oh, it's so good. And like you can't literally get it anywhere else,
Yes.
like apart from in Greece, and the hotels never seem to do it because I feel like it's a thing that the locals love and it hasn't really caught on with the tourists. But
Hot tip.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so yeah, we went, just about a 10-minute walk, into the town, found this coffee shop, got the Freddo espresso, and then there was a nice bakery next door. So we got they just do the most amazing cream cakes and stuff, and we wouldn't have got that if we just stayed in the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's those experiences that stick with you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like the big sites, yes, we all see those and they're amazing, but it's those quiet moments or those unexpected little things that you happen upon or you discover or you chat to
Exactly.
somebody that really stay with you, and those are the stories that you bring back from the holidays.
And then we went into the local supermarket, bought some cat food, and then just fed all the cats that we'd found.
Love a local supermarket.
Yeah.
Supermarket tourism.
Yeah. Everyone's, 'cause we were in Zante, so everyone was going out at night to get to get on it and have a nice night out. We were walking down the country roads finding cats to feed.
It's interesting
very
actually
different.
with the all inclusive in Greece, because we were looking to book, and the one that we've gone to the past few years, it's a lovely resort, but actually all you do is stay on the resort. There's very little opportunities for you in that area to leave the resort and have those kind of authentic experiences. And so when we're thinking about it, do we want to go again? Actually, do I want to go somewhere where I can get a more authentic experience, leave the resort? Because then when I'm there, I'm just thinking, this resort has taken over this lovely part of Greece that now locals don't get to enjoy. They don't have access to the beach anymore. So it's definitely, we can go there and have a lovely time for a week or that. And then you think, oh, actually, how has it impacted the people around? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, well, a really easy way of doing that is, like you said, just getting out and about a bit more, and talking to staff, I think, is really invaluable as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because I feel like they want you to go to these places, don't they? They kind of want you to fine, they kind of want you to stay at the hotel as well. But I don't want to stay at an all-inclusive hotel for a week and not leave. It's just...
And they know the places and have the top tips because they're the locals who live there all the time.
Yeah.
So
we actually, I think Jenny and I and some other people in the team, we were in Parma when was that? April? And we were trying to have sort of as sustainable a trip as possible. And actually, I found it was quite easy. At least in Parma, obviously, it depends on where you're going, I suppose. But yeah, there were loads of really cool restaurants that were kind of serving local food, lots of vegetarian and vegan stuff. But I mean, even all the kind of meat, there was lots of local lamb and steak. Part of that trip, we were there to race an Olympic windsurfer across the island.
As you do.
Yeah, just,
Casual Tuesday.
very, yeah. But so part of that was, obviously the windsurfer windsurfed to the cathedral in Parma. Yeah, wind powered, no fossil fuels there. And we had to race him on a bus.
Excellent.
And
Electric bus.
Yeah, all the buses, well, I don't know if all of them are, but most of the buses in Mallorca are electric. So yeah,
Great.
That was great. Any guesses who won that race?
I'm going to back the windsurfer.
Yeah, I was going to say the windsurfer.
It was surprisingly very close.
Well, it was
Actually, but yeah, he did. He won. I think the main issue for him was he got from where we were staying to Parma in about 10 minutes, but actually finding somewhere to get out of the water was the struggle.
Is this going to be our top sustainable tip? Is actually just a windsurf?
Yeah, just windsurf everywhere.
Just windsurf everywhere.
Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly. Wind power is the way forward. But yeah, but the bus was so easy. To be fair, we just, I feel like a lot of these sort of tourist-oriented places,
they're so well set up, aren't they? Yeah, exactly. And I think you're right. You can find sort of local places to eat and maybe even make that, a bit of a holiday mission to, I try a different dish every day or, try a different local shop each day or try a different way of getting around. You can always make that part of the fun of the holiday.
Yeah, I feel like that's, like you say, it's part of the fun. It's why we should be going to these places. It's I hate when you go somewhere and it's there's always an Irish pub or something like that, and you're like, why have I come all the way to Greece to go to an Irish pub?
Didn't Greg's just open in Tenerife, and Weatherspoons is now in Alicante?
Alicante, yeah,
right.
That's it.
Yeah,
wild. Although I am interested to try the Spanish. The Spanish slice.
The Spanish. Was that the Greg's Spanish special?
Yeah.
Well, that's actually quite hard to say. The Greg's Spanish special.
Yeah. I don't know if it is. I don't know what's in it, but
no, I don't know.
I'll try it.
Chorizo.
Yeah, it probably is a chorizo roll.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't like
Does
that.
sound good, but we're not doing Greg's,
No.
okay?
No, Greg.
Local experiences only. I don't think Greg's. It is Spanish for Greg's. No, don't do it.
Yeah, I won't. I'll probably
Move on.
offend someone. Right, so let's do our travel in brackets forward deep dive. Although that doesn't work because it's the destination deep dive.
It is, but
It's the travel
all right.
forward deep
You've made it
dive
work.
because we're not at a destination. We're just talking about travel forward this week. This is where we would normally do a deep dive into the destination we're talking about, but I thought we'd do a deep dive into travel forward instead. So what are sort of some of the kind of projects that you're working on right now, or some of the kind of bigger ones that you've worked on in the past? And
as we've talked a lot about today, I think one of the key issues we're working on at the moment is climate change. Because, as we've talked about already, climate change is already impacting the destinations we're visiting, wildfires, extreme weather, storms, this kind of thing. Even now in the UK, as we've just had in the last month. But also tourism contributes to climate change. So tourism, with all the travel, is a huge emitter of carbon emissions, but also, accommodation, emissions, all of those things related. That's why it's a big part of the work that we do. So we've been working over the past few years a lot with tourism destinations and small businesses on climate action planning, which is essentially supporting them with the tools to develop a roadmap to kind of be better prepared for climate change. One thing we've done over the last few years is develop a course called Destination Climate Champions with support from Expedia Group. And that course is an online course that people can access as and when they want. And it's really kind of giving them the know-how and what they need to know about climate change, but really what it means for them and their destination, what the impacts might be, how they can prepare, and also things like how they can communicate better with visitors to encourage more sustainable behaviours when people are travelling. Another project we've got going at the moment is called Climate Risk Scan. And that is essentially developing, it's a sort of a big framework that will allow destinations to get a score, which is their sort of climate risk score, which is going to show how sort of vulnerable or exposed they are to climate change. And again, really, really to enable them to better prepare for what they can do to adapt as well. And for that, we're working with quite a few different pilot destinations. So split between some small islands and mountain sort of ski destinations. So we're working, one is like Koh Samui, for example, in Thailand. Obviously, the impacts of climate change there are very different. In an island, it's going to be rising sea levels, storms. And then in mountain destinations, so one in Europe is the Dolomites in Italy. They're going to be facing things like snow melt. So again, it's kind of enabling them to understand what those impacts might be over the next 50 years, when they're going to happen, and what they can do to adapt and mitigate those impacts. So for mountain destinations, it might be, looking at how they can extend their tourism offering more throughout the summer season, with things like hiking, rafting. So then, it's sort of cushioning the blow that if the ski season gets shortened, local people and communities are still benefiting from tourism more throughout the year. And then, with climate action planning, we've been working a lot with countries, as I said, to develop these plans. Over the past year or so, the Canaries is a big destination we've been working with, and we've actually done individual climate action plans with almost all of the Canary Islands now. I think I'm sort of talking from all of our climate work, but maybe I'll hand over to Bex and you can talk a bit more broadly and some of the other work. Yeah.
Sure. Yes, the other aspect I guess we work a lot on is what we would call destination stewardship. So how do we manage tourism in a place that is really driven by the needs and priorities of that place? So we start with the place and then we think about tourism's role in that. So one example of that that we've just finished recently is working with two destinations in northern Spain, so Asturias and Galicia, two regions in northern Spain, which are seeing actually increased visitors for many reasons, not least because it's beautiful and it's natural and wonderful sights and food and culture, but also partly because of the impacts of climate affecting visitor patterns. And so it's cooler there in the summer than it is perhaps in other parts of Europe. So they're seeing a growth in interest. And so with them, we've been working, as we do with other destinations, to think about the future of tourism. So not just about what's happening right now, but what would happen, you know, if visitors numbers increase, how are we going to manage that in a way that still protects the beauty that people are coming to see? So thinking about signals around, you know, how are residents feeling about tourism now? How might they feel if things change? What role do other actors in the tourism system have? So we had a workshop with not just the destinations themselves, but tour operators who take visitors there. We had some travel writers who, you know, tell the stories of those destinations. So they have a really important role to play as well in how they influence where visitors go, when, you know, thinking about different seasons of the year that people can discover those places. So really practical kind of thinking through with the destinations, you know, you love your place, we love to visit it. How can we look to the future, and what visions you have for your place, and how can tourism play the best part it can in that?
That's interesting, obviously, with it being northern Spain. Do you feel like, obviously there's been a lot in the kind of the press, like Barcelona and that, where there's that really anti-tourism sentiment, obviously, where it's been so visited. Do you feel like that kind of people are trickling out from there now and are kind of expanding where they go in Spain? And is that something as well, potentially?
Potentially, yeah. I think, you know, Spain is hugely popular from the UK, obviously, and
I think it's always the favourite destination, isn't it?
It's wonderful, and you know, there's so many places and to visit, and I think, you know, they are keen to encourage people to explore, you know, other parts of Spain as well. You know, the interior of Spain has some amazing, beautiful hillside towns and wonderful wine and all those places that.
Oh, I'm sold.
You know,
there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, and you know, as do you know, so much of Europe, but yeah, I think they are wanting to see visitors come and enjoy it in a way that also protects what they've come to see as well. You know, and those sort of rural businesses that can still benefit from tourism and share those benefits.
Nice. It can be like a double-edged sword, tourism, I guess, because I'm sure it brings kind of new kind of wealth to the area, or income is the word I'm looking for. But I guess there's so many then pressures it also brings.
Yes.
It must be hard to weigh up how much do you kind of sacrifice and what do you stand to gain by, you know, having tourism.
I think so. And I think it's bringing residents into that conversation early as well.
Yep.
You know, often these problems, it's a bit like a boiling pot where you only see it once it's really boiling. And actually, if you can engage with residents and understand what their concerns and needs and priorities are early on, and what they would like to see from tourism, and then, you know, it's developed in a way that suits the place. I think that, you know, that's
Sorry,
a positive approach. No,
I think it's interesting because obviously where we are, obviously we're based in Folkestone, and it's interesting because we're seeing a lot more tourism here now, and you can see that there's actually the residents. There is a backlash against it because it's kind of people coming in and, you know, they leave a lot of litter and that. One, it's, you know, it's fantastic. There are local businesses that, you know, these people support, and, you know, so it's like, yes, please come, but when you're here, please be respectful. You know, people live here.
Yes.
Kind of please leave it in a nice,
it goes
in a
back
nice
to what
way.
you were saying about, you know, behaving like you would at home.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, it's like, great. The Sunny Sands is popular on TikTok, and it's lovely to see, you know, new faces in the town. But you know, please take your litter with you.
I think as well with the kind of overcrowding and stuff, it's not great as a tourist if you're somewhere and it's just completely packed. And there's litter everywhere because the bins are overflowing. You know, so I think, you know, for both sides, it makes sense to, you know, enable this better planning at an earlier stage, as Bex was saying, so that you don't get to where the pot's boiling over when you get there. So
nobody's happy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it doesn't give you a good experience either as a tourist.
So it wouldn't really be the departure lounge, even though we're only 2 episodes in.
3 episodes.
Okay. But it wouldn't be the departure lounge without some kind of challenge.
It has to be a challenge, quiz, something.
But I will just preface it and say that there is no point up for grabs for you because G's not here, so it wouldn't be fair.
An advantage. I thought I was going to get the home field advantage.
No, I mean, you're already in the lead anyway. But I've put a little quiz together, which, like, you are actually at a disadvantage because I've taken these stats from your website.
Oh,
so
no pressure.
Yeah. So let's just jump straight in with question 1 of 3. What percentage of Caribbean beaches could disappear by 2050? Actually, it's multiple choice.
So
wait for the answer. A, 10%. B, 25%. C, 50%. Or D, 75%. No cheating.
I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to guess 25%.
25%. Okay.
That's my guess.
Okay. Any Any challenges to 25%?
50?
50%?
I might go with 50.
That is the correct answer.
Yeah.
I'm upset. I've not got the question right, and also it's a worse outcome than I predicted.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I've lost
50%.
there.
That is that's quite terrifying actually.
Yeah, that's
to
awful.
think, especially because the Caribbean is famous for beaches.
Yeah.
To lose half of them
Yeah.
in 25 years. Yeah. Whew. Okay, question 2. How many cities could face regular extreme heat by 2050? A, 100, B, 250, C, 500, or D, nearly 1,000. I really hope that's not the answer. What do you reckon?
I'm going to go C.
C,
500.
500?
Is this globally?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. I think it could be the 1,000.
Yeah.
But I'm not.
I'm going to go 500 as well.
500.
Come join me with the 500 guess.
Okay, it is actually nearly 1,000,
Oh, wow.
which that's a horrifying thought. I can't think of a worse place to be
Or in
other
a
than
city.
a city in a heat wave.
Yeah, that's it. When they see London in
Yeah.
the heat wave, no, thank you.
Yeah, no thanks. I need to be near water. And this actually touches on what we were talking about a bit earlier about the Dolomites. How many European ski resorts could become unviable by 2050? A, 1 in 10, B, 1 in 4, C, 1 in 2, or D, 3 in 4. I don't know why I did that and not just percentages.
It's like I've been trying to do like the mental math now.
So I'll go through those
No,
again.
that's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm going to go for 1 in 4.
1 in 4 could become unviable by 2050. So that's B. What do you reckon?
I think I'd agree. Yeah.
1 in 4?
I think it
Might be more, maybe. But
I think that by 2050, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Let's have a look. It is C, 1 in 2, which
Oh.
is half, I believe,
That is
according
half.
to my maths, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But I suppose it depends what you mean by unviable. I guess means they can't be skiable. But like you were saying, there are other things to do.
ways. But we're definitely seeing. I was in the Alps last summer, and it was somewhere I'd been actually as a student many, many years ago, and I could see that they were investing in the infrastructure much higher up
really?
than they had been. I could see the place that I'd
Like
been
move up the
to
mountain.
Yeah.
was sort of a bit not run down, but hadn't been invested in as much as that all the newer builds were much further up. So there's already that happen. You can see that happening there, responding to those shifts.
That's
already.
so interesting.
And it's interesting, I think, when you think climate change, it's so easy just to think about rising sea levels and that being the beach destinations. And like you were saying about mountains, like, oh my God, of course. Like it hadn't even really considered that. And like all the glaciers that are retreating and, all those. Yeah.
Also, in lots of ski destinations, they're using fake snow machines anyway already to kind of prop up the season. But actually, the energy involved to use those machines and the temperatures, the warmer the temperature goes, it's harder and harder to use those machines as well. So even those methods are kind of
Like
going to become
compounding
more,
the problem.
Yeah, it's like a
and
catch-22.
going to actually not work when the
really?
temperature gets to a certain degree warmer. So it's difficult. But I think I did something at Dolomites last year in a workshop there, and actually for some of the research, I think Chamonix now actually has more visitors in the summer than it does in the winter.
Oh, really?
Because they've really boosted their kind of throughout the year offerings with loads of different events like BMXing, things like that. I think for the first time in the last few years, they've had more visitors in the summer months than winter. So that's almost like a complete flip
Yeah.
as
That's
to what they used
interesting.
to be known for. So.
And they can use some of the infrastructure. So exactly the same I was seeing in the Alps. You can take mountain bikes on the cable cars, for example. So, they can use those same, and some of the runs they could use for walking or cycling or, so adaptation is where we are, I think, having to respond to those changes.
I think our other co-host who isn't here today is we didn't have enough chairs. She just got back from Switzerland. I think she was saying there was a downhill run ride thing that
like an alpine roller coaster
yeah,
type thing.
Thank you for filling in
Yeah.
with me there.
Yeah,
that she's
and
done.
go-karts and things like that. I
Yeah.
went on with my son last summer.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's definitely other things that you can do.
Yeah. I suppose as well, like with, like you were saying about, the popular beach destinations heating up in summer, I guess maybe that's putting people off as well. And like a mountain destination like the Dolomites or the Alps is, I would assume, a bit cooler than the beaches. It's definitely something I would be interested in doing.
Yeah.
Because I I'm no good in the heat. And not to end on a bit of a downer.
No, we don't want to end on a
So,
downer. We want to end on some positives.
Some positive, actionable
things.
If there's one thing that someone could take away, what would you like it to be? Or what would you take away?
I think for me, it would be the finding out the local experiences, because that's what I love to do on holiday, those unique and authentic things that you can't do in this country. So that would be my sort of top tip and top recommendation, and it's beneficial for the local communities as well. So
yeah, I think similarly for me, and also traveling slowly as well. I think, slow travel is definitely a theme that we're seeing, but it is brilliant, because that is when you have those, those local experiences, because you take the time to explore. If we're rushing from big site to big site, hotspot to hotspot, we're missing actually what those places are all about. We're missing those chats with local people and happening upon a little cafe with the coffee, like you mentioned. I think it's giving ourselves time to really absorb the place,
Get properly immersed in it.
Exactly.
Anything from you, Allie?
Yeah, I love that. I think you could feel like you'd come away from a conversation like this and it really be, you shouldn't be going abroad, or don't travel. But actually it's not. It's about traveling, but more authentic travel, and actually better experiences. You're by slowing down and doing all those things, you're actually going to have a better holiday anyway, and come out with much richer experiences. So
definitely,
I think it's great. And like you said, you don't want tourism to collapse in those places, because a lot of people rely on it. That's their livelihoods. So,
exactly. Yeah. I think like you say, it just makes it more enjoyable for everyone involved.
Yeah, I think we could all do with slowing down, looking for authentic experiences and connecting with locals and people. I think that's what we need in humanity in general at the moment. So yes, it's very. See, I told you it was going to be a serious episode.
Yeah, very very serious.
Too serious.
Cool. Well, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you think we should?
No, thank you so much for taking the time to join with us and the fantastic work you do, and hopefully we can continue supporting you guys and the destinations that we all love.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks so much also for the fundraising that you've
Yes,
been doing.
thank you to our customers that continue to fundraise for Travel Forward, and hopefully gives a better idea now of actually what that money is going towards, and going to bring that home.
Yeah, we'll chuck a link somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. If people want to either find out more or donate,
Yeah, please do support you guys.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's it.
That's it. It's a wrap.
Cut the cameras.